Namaste, hello everyone. Welcome back to my podcast. I am very happy to introduce my undergraduate teacher, Mr. Cesar Koirala, as a guest in my podcast today. I have completed my computer engineering degree from Kopo Engineering College, Bhaktapur. At that time, he was my computer faculty teacher. He came in our class one time and he gave us the motivational speech regarding AI, like artificial intelligence. I did not get a chance to meet in person here in USA, but when I came here, I texted him and he had responded back, which I did not expect. So thank you so much for that quick response. So today's episode will be very heart touching for me. I feel nervous and excited at the same time, and privileged to talk with him and want to know more about him, his journey, and work experience. Welcome to my podcast, Cesar sir. Namaste.
Thank you so much. Namaste, sir. Thank you for having me here. Really excited to talk.
It was really very fun. I'm getting a chance to talk with you, knowing more about yourself. Can you just give us a brief introduction of yourself for audience?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Sunny said, I was a computer engineering graduate back in Nepal. Worked there for 3 years at Kopo Engineering College as a computer engineering faculty, teaching AI and other courses there. I came here from a master's in the United States in 2006 from a master's in AI. Nobody pretty much cared about AI then, but I really wanted to do something in AI. So I did my master's in AI. And from there, I kept on working and studying AI, especially focusing on linguistics and natural language processing. So my journey so far has been working in various startups, big companies like Facebook, United Health Group, EY, and other companies, forming really like initial data science AI teams and making big impacts on natural language processing. Like I started working in AI when not many people did, so companies would bring me in to set up their natural language processing systems. So recently, I have branched out from hardcore AI. And what I'm working on right now is what we call responsible AI, ethical AI, which is I'm trying to help other engineers and other companies build AI responsibly and cause no harm to people as they are implementing AI systems. So that's where my focus and I think for the future that's where my focus will be. Given my experience, like almost 20 years of experience in AI now, I want to make sure no harm is caused by the recent AI advancements. So that's where I want to focus my career on going forward. Besides that, I'm also faculty. I love teaching. I began my journey there, so I teach part time at NYU and Columbia. Uh, like ethical AI and actually like implementing AI and machine learning in companies. Like how do you do applied AI? So I teach that at Columbia and NYU. And yeah, so that's me career wise. Personally, I live in Boston with my wife and a 3-year-old son. And outside of the whole of world of AI, I love music and I'm continuing to make music and sing. So that's why I am.
Yeah. So at that time when you are here, can you just share your experience? Is there any challenges you faced initially as an immigrant student?
Yeah, yeah. No, it was challenging in the sense of so and I went to South in Georgia because I wanted to study masters in AI, and very few schools had masters in AI, and University of Georgia had one. So when I first came here, I didn't know culturally how to behave. I didn't go to any fancy schools, so my English wasn't very good. So I had a hard time communicating with people. Um, Even from academic side, I was always a good student back in Nepal. But then when I came here, I think because of those language differences and expectations from my professors in United States, I had a hard time even in class. So I was teaching programming back in Nepal, as you know. When I came here, I took Prolog course. For AI, they used to teach Prolog and Lisp and other courses. I'm ancient that way. And I got a C. In my entire life, I've never gotten a C, right? So, and I could tell it was because of language barrier and other things and really difficulty expressing yourself. Like, I don't know how to write essays back then, right? So I really had to work hard to grow from where I was to where I am right now because I was an immigrant.
So, as you said, we have a different culture. It was really very difficult for me as well for communicating.
Interesting thing about that is, um, I mean, obviously you cannot um, replicate the other person that you are talking to because you have your natural way of speaking and you shouldn't give that up. It's okay to speak the way you are. And I'm saying that as a student of linguistics, right? So all of us were born like were born certain way, but then we picked up our language, and at a certain age you are capped at that, right? So you cannot change your accent completely because that's who you are, and we shouldn't try to. It's okay. We are in America. America is all about diversity, right? So it's okay to have an accent. It's completely okay to have an accent. If you like scientifically, if you try to understand how that works, we develop language capabilities early on, and we're hardwired to do that, right? So if you come here before 5 years old, when you're
Mhm.
before 5 years old, then uh, you could sound very similar to people who you are growing up with. So your students, your teachers, your classmates, right? So younger people would sound more natives, like native speakers.
Yeah.
And like you said, if you come early on when you're in high school, you probably develop language capabilities closer to people living around you. And the older you get, the difficult it gets. But
Yes.
yeah, linguistics abilities develop prior to 5. So it's it's always good to expose your kids to languages before they are 5. And and as the older you get, it gets difficult.
I think we are from Nepal. We speak Nepali in home. We have to speak English on the school or the outside with other kids.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, and it's always, like even what I was trying to say is like you might sound like more native speaker if you come early because those accents and everything are formative. Learning a new language is a lifelong journey, right? I
Mhm.
mean, you can always if you start learning Spanish now, you will be able to do that. English has been a lifelong journey for us, right? So it's not like you cannot learn the language, but native, like sounding native, like is easier when you are younger. But what I'm also trying to stress is that's not needed. That's not
Yeah,
necessary. It's okay.
it's
It's okay.
okay.
Right?
Yeah, because it's just a communication thing. As you say, your interest is in the music, right? So, so can you just tell about like what type of music you listen? You listen Nepali songs or not?
But almost all Nepali and Hindi, I have to say, even after so many years here. Uh, my wife makes fun of me sometimes saying, I mean, we're in a car, we're listening to some music, and I would understand the lyrics if it's English, and we're like, what is happening here? What is he saying, right? So, I'm still old school. I prefer the language that I grew up with. So I grew up listening initial like old school Nepali pop, like Om Vikram Vishta, and then as I grew older, in high school and college, Navin Bhattrai, Mohan Busal, so that kind of Nepali pop has really influenced who I am as a musician, as a singer, and it's so difficult to get out of that. Even when I'm composing music right now, it's you can tell that I'm really influenced by that kind of pop era. Even when Sugam Pokhrel and other people came, like I was probably already too old to learn music, so I'm still stuck in that era. So that's the kind of music I hear. I think even my compositions, recent compositions, show that. But updating life is when I was back in Nepal. I even released an album, pop music album. I wrote all the songs. I sang all the songs. This was back in 2002. And fast forward, 2010, 12, I was still creating some songs, going back to Nepal, recording them with very least success. And now, being a dad, I think because you listen to so much children music, my whole focus is on making children songs, and especially focused on how can I help um, kids, Nepali kids who are outside of Nepal, and we're trying to teach them Nepali, but it's so difficult. Can we create music to do that? Can we do that through music? So that's what I'm trying to do. My sole focus is there now because my son, right? And I want to teach him Nepali, and it's so close to my heart that can I make music to teach them Nepali now? Right? That's what I'm focused on.
You recently released one.
Yeah, July 4th. We
Yeah,
released the yeah we released the
yeah,
song on July 4th. Yeah,
that was really very good because it describes about the colors in Nepali. I just watched myself with the daughters. They loved it. They know
nice.
about something about Nepali colors like uh, uh, Nilo, Akas, and like that off.
Yeah,
And they are like, oh no, this Nepali new song. They are just excited to watch that song. Thank you so much for creating that beautiful songs. It was
no,
really very
that's so
good.
amazing, and thank you for showing that to your daughters. Yeah, so our first song was about days of the week.
Yeah.
Uh, And then this second song is about colors, and we're trying to mix it. Like let's teach them fruits and colors together, and make the video really interesting for the kids, right? So that's what we're doing, and we have a whole plan. Me and my friends, our team, we're working on okay animals next or letters, kaka gaga next, right? So we're working on all of that. So hopefully, hopefully we can make an impact. Hopefully we are able to teach kids living abroad Nepali, and we can contribute at least like some amount to that.
Yeah, what I saw in your first video, it was days of the week. So that is also the one that I watched with my kids, and they loved it because the going outside on the Sunday and everything is
Right.
related, right? So it's just a relation related to them also. So they love that song too. So yeah, it was
Yeah,
really
yeah.
very
So that song was written by Archana Lakwa Didi, who lives here, who's been living here, and it's all about their kids too, right? So when you write a song, you can relate to that song, and she wanted
yeah,
kids living here to relate to that. And the second song is written by a friend I went to college with, Nikita, who's also a co-singer there. She's the second other singer in the music video. And again, she has kids who are bored here. So now, you're writing songs that can relate to your own kids, and I'm
yes.
making music that can relate to my kid. And my song, my son is singing the song when he's playing, and that makes me so much happy.
Yeah, it was really very great like doing that thing. So I think just keep doing that work because it loving our kids. Everybody loves the music, right? The songs. They watch the TV, and with the like like the I saw like the video is also really very good with the character. So yeah, that is really very fun. So anyone who are here listening to us and watching us, please watch the song. The what the title it says, sir?
So
Which?
the song that we just released is called Rangharuko Katha,
Yeah.
Story of Colors.
Wow, that's
And
really very
yeah,
good.
yeah, and the first one is Days of the Week.
Days of the week. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
The YouTube channel. In which YouTube channel you
Arjun
post?
Dynamics, and I
Uh,
will share the links after we post this video. I can go and comment and share the links
yeah.
because I really want Nepali diaspora to,
Mhm.
like support the cause and listen to the songs and give us feedback.
Mhm.
How can we improve? And I'll
Yeah.
give you a recent example, right? So I went to Toronto to meet my family, um, and my niece came to Canada when she was 5 years old. She knows Nepali, but she has an accent, but she understands and can speak Nepali because the family speaks Nepali to her all the time, right? And I showed her the video because she has her own kid who is not even 1 year old now, and we're watching it together, and she said, "Oh, I love the song. I can understand a few things, but still it is a little difficult for me to understand everything because I grew up here." And she was giving me ideas on how I can improve it for her kid. right? And that's what I want. I want more feedback from people on how we can make this better, you know?
Yeah, that is true. So if we get any feedback, then next video when you are doing the next one, it will help, right? It
Exactly,
definitely
exactly.
help. We can improve that. Like we can add something features like what they needed. Also, we can have some ideas on that next video. So, yeah, that is really very great talking with the music thing. So. So I just want to recall the time that you was a teacher in Nepal. So you have any like I have one question like what is the most memorable moment when you are in Nepal like while you are a teacher? If you
When I was a
remember
teacher, oh,
anything.
so many memories from those days. I would say long-lasting memory would be meeting with everybody there, right? I mean, not even about teaching, but um, joined Copenhagen College even before graduating Nepal Engineering College, right? So I just had defended my final year thesis, and
Mhm.
then 7 days I hadn't even graduated. I got like we I went to an interview, and then there I was, right? So I was teaching people, and I didn't even have my degree by then. So being very young and coming to classes and teaching, they were what, second or third year when I started teaching my first batch. So these people are just my own age, right? So it was very interesting to be in the class and teaching, and um, but the fact that I was so young when I was teaching, everybody, like I could relate to them, you know. I could understand what is the best way to teach them because I had just done that, right? So I would try to be as interactive. I would try to simplify things, and most of the people are still in my connection and friends. Some of them are even friends now here in United States, which is amazing. Those memories are still there. And then the teachers, right? So we started teaching together, same age, and all of them are lifelong friends now, right? We still talk, we are still connected. So those are the great memories. Like mostly the people, right? So the students
Mhm.
and teachers who are now lifelong friends.
That is great. And that time, as you said, like you are even not graduated, but you teachers that it's the same age, right? It's just as you
Yeah,
said,
very
like a
similar.
friends. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, that is really very good. So, have you ever faced a really funny or embarrassing situation while teaching?
absolutely, many of them. uh,
Can you share
so
one?
yeah,
Anything
of
you
course,
remember?
I can share my first class. I don't know if I've told anybody this, but so I'm an introvert. Now, I speak like this because it's a years of practice of doing this, but I'm an introvert. I don't like it's very difficult for me to speak to people. And so first class I was teaching intro to computer science. I forgot the name, like title of the topic, but it was on like introduction of computer science, right? And first class electronics and communication class, I still remember. I went there, I started teaching, um, and I was shaking. Honestly, like my legs were shaking. It was so difficult to teach. I didn't even complete the whole class. I don't know if the class knows that, but because I was trying to really stay composed, but I taught as much as I can, and then I said, "Okay, that's it for today," and I'm leaving in the middle of the class. Like I just left. I just left in the middle of the class, right? So I taught as much as I could. I don't know if the guys still remember, and maybe they will. Maybe they will watch this video and they'll say, "Yeah, you left early." And so it was very embarrassing, but it was also, a moment where I realized, okay, I really need to work hard on this because I'm not a people person. I have difficulty with public speaking, and going forward, I would work so hard on my lectures. I think like the lectures were probably less than an hour, but I would spend over 8 hours per lecture. I would read the books. Yeah, I'd read the books. I would write everything down. I would have everything written down, practice, and I would come to the class and deliver it. And then I'll just like photocopy the notes and give to everybody, or or even dictate it in the class. I would say, okay, write it down, because I would have spent 8 hours. I would know everything. Like I would have memorized it, right? So in the beginning, I did that for 6 months, 1 year, where I actually memorized everything when I came to the class, and that made me more confident. And in a year or so, I was so confident that I wouldn't even have to work on it much, right? Then I could just go to the class and show up and talk about everything, because I wasn't as nervous. But I had to work really hard. I worked like 8 hours per lecture, I would say.
Really, really, yeah. It was really, really difficult, right? For like as you say, you are introvert, but still you are going in the classroom and you have to take the class with all the students. There is maybe like 30. How many students in the class you have?
I can't remember, but probably 40, yeah,
40.
between 30 and 40, I would say. Yeah.
I think we have like 40, 30 to 40 students in my class when we are in
Yeah.
uh, their time. So yeah, it was really.
It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing to be nervous, but but I should give it to the students. They were always nice to me. I never had one difficult student who would, give me difficult times. It was easy to go with them. It was easy to become a better speaker with them.
Okay, so if like at that time, right? What's the most important lesson you hope your students take away from your class? Is there anything you want to share? Anything?
Yes, yes. So at a personal and professional level, right? So
Mhm, mhm,
personal level, I would say it's an experience. If you can teach, you should teach at least for a few years, because you would think, like I was a good student. I was actually a valedictorian, like a topper in my college and all those things, right? So, but when you come to teach, you realize how much you don't know, because to score a top score is easy. You just go write it down. Even if you don't know something, it's okay. You score 80 out of 100 is fine. But when
mhm.
you're a teacher, you have to know 100 out of 100, right? You go to the class. If somebody asks you something, better be prepared to answer. You cannot say, "Oh, this is optional. I can skip it," right? So I would say, like personally, I would advocate for teaching, to just learn your material better. If you teach, you really know your material well, and also grow the confidence, like I did. I went through that journey. um so that's personally. Um professionally, um I, you know I think that second point was pretty much professionally. It's like, if you teach, you learn, right? So I would say, for any person who's trying to learn any material better, try teaching. It'll humble
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, I think when while you teaching, you learn more, right? Right. I what I think like when you teach, you more grow yourself also.
Absolutely. That's why I continue to teach, because like you can become stagnant in your learning if you don't do that.
Mhm,
As I teach my newer students and newer cohorts now, I also get to learn from them on, okay, what is trending, what should I be learning, and even culturally, how are the newer students? What is their expectation? Because every year I teach, the students are different, their expectations are different, and so you get caught up on not just the newer topics and newer trends, but also how are the newer students? What are their likes and dislikes? So I like doing that. It makes you fresh from a professional standpoint.
yeah, also you up to date with the recent thing what is going on.
Yeah,
Trending. So if you could give one piece of advice to all your students, what would it be right now? If anybody is watching or hearing us, your old students or the new one, anything you want to share with them?
yeah, yeah. I think we are at a very interesting point in civilization, I would say, where it's a very interesting point where um, advancement in AI is going to change learning forever. Learning in the past was about memorizing. Um, when we started learning, it became less about memorizing and it became about lookups. Where can you find the information? I remember there was a speaker in our graduation who said, okay, Great. Now you're engineers. Now you know where to find information, right? So that was a great way to look at the thing where he was saying you don't need to know everything, but now you know where to find information as you're trying to work. And that was so true. And the information was in books, in lectures, in internet. Now we are at the phase where you don't even have to look up for information, right? You can just ask large language models about something and it's going to give you information. So that shift in the learning curve and how to learn and what to learn is changing substantially. So my advice, I know this is not a clear cookie cutter answer, is try to catch up. Don't memorize. Try to stay up to date with how to get information out of large language models and adapt quickly, right? So just stay cognizant about how the whole landscape is changing because it's not the same. Like memorizing or even your ability to look it up is not going to make you a good student now. How to use AI tools to be better at learning is going to make you better now.
Yes, yeah, I think that is really very good advice for all of us. Like, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that advice. So, I think as we are talking about the AI or the teaching, right? What's the most rewarding part of your job when you are teaching?
That's a great question. So many of them. But I practically, when I see my students succeed, and it's not a cliche, like I really mean it, right? So I was actually telling this to someone recently. As an engineer, you want to get into big companies, and when I was trying to do this, you look at Microsoft and some other companies, like not the newer like Facebook and other companies, but Microsoft and other companies, even Oracle and some other companies, right? So you dream of being there. So for me, the moment of pride and the moment of satisfaction was when my students started doing that, right? So, and even I couldn't do that, right? So I really struggled, but then I saw actually some of my students that I taught at Copa and some other places get into big companies. It just made me feel so proud, and not just getting into big companies, like starting something of their own, uh, being teachers at Copa and some other universities, and now being at a really higher position. Just looking at them and being successful, and some of them branching out, like you are branching out. You're doing this now, right? So branching out from the norm and doing something that they're passionate about and trying to be successful, that is what it gives you thrill. That is what you want to feel like you had some contribution to it. Not in your case, but in some other case, I'd be like, okay, I hope I had some contribution to where they are now, and that makes you feel so good about yourself.
Yeah, I think yeah, that is a really very good thing that you just said. Like the students, right? What you have taught to the students, they are in some of the position that feels really very good, right?
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
feel satisfied that you spent some years working on them as a profession, uh, but now you see them successful. It just makes you feel proud and satisfied on what you did.
Yeah, that is really very good. Yeah, thank you. I think from this podcast, right, from this conversation that we are talking about, many of your students, right, my seniors or not my juniors, because my seniors only get the opportunity to get something from you. But yeah, you are really very friendly. Because as you did not teach us, but still we are in the same like the college, and as we communicate, right? So yeah, it was really very great that time that you have given today, and all the students who are looking us, like watching us and listening us, maybe they are like very okay. Thank me as well that you I got this opportunity talking with you, and they can watch this episode. So thank you so much,
Of
sir.
course, no, thank you for having me. And I know, we have been texting about, me coming to podcast. I always wanted to. It's just a
Mhm.
busy life, and I'm so
Yeah.
glad that I could actually come here. And you're doing great. Keep doing this. You're doing great. As I know, having a little kid, how difficult it is to be a mom and do all of these things. So proud of you, and continue doing this, please.
Yeah, thank you. So, as you said, like teaching is not like the same as back then. Now it's different. So over the year, how do you feel about the technology in the education is changing?
I think this is related to what I was saying earlier, right? Um, I'm not surprised by it. I think evolution happens in
Mm-hmm.
learning. I remember when I was growing up, they would say, "Oh, don't use calculators because you'll be inferior in math," and we're not allowed to use calculators for the longest time. Good thing about that is even now I can do calculations in my head, right?
Yeah.
So which is good. But I think it
Uh-huh.
is changing. Then computers came and things became even more for easier for learning and calculations and all those things. And now with the newest technology, as I was talking about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
I think um, education leaders and people who are developing ideas for education and courses need to move out of the mindset of um, memorization and information lookup. Like they really need to think about what does being good in learning mean going forward, right? What does it mean? Because like now I can honestly just just say chat gpt, like ask chat gpt or Gemini or any other large language model to get me information on what I want to learn. It's amazing. You can ask it to create a course. It can ask you to create a step-by-step learning process for you. It can do anything for you, right? So what is the value that as a teacher I would add? What is the value as an educational institution that I would add? I'm not saying the course material will be perfect. When ChatGPT is creating that, there'll be a lot of errors, right? But we're getting there. Eventually, we'll be in a situation where AI can be a school and AI can be a teacher. So, what is the human element that's needed to make that process better? I think we should focus on that now as an education. And students also need to focus on, okay, I think like I have all the information, but how do I make sure I succeed in life as a professional going forward? Um, so that's a non-answer, honestly. We because it's a work in progress. I think everybody needs to continue thinking about what does learning and teaching, what will it look like in a few years, because it won't look the same. It's very
Yes, I
different
think.
from when my grandfather used to tell my father. You know how they say like tupi kosera purne. They would just like they would have a lamp and they would stay up night, a whole night, and memorize things for exam. We don't need to do that anymore. So, what is the next step here? How should the education evolve? Is the big question. I don't know the answer, but everybody needs to like think about that.
Yeah, I think it's a different. That time and this time is really very time changed, right? And also the technology, as you said, like previously it was like we have, as our like the schooling was, we need to memorize, and everything was memorizing, like the table of multiplication, everything small thing, right? We need to memorize. But here in the, as my kids are in that age that they are doing that multiplication, they are not memorizing, they are just calculating by own like stuff, like they don't need to memorize, they
Yeah,
know like how to that the techniques, how to do that multiplication, right? So I think the time changes, so we need to change
we
with
need to
that.
adapt. We need to
Yeah.
adapt, and we better adapt because if we keep on asking the same questions in exams and we keep on doing the same things in school, it will be pointless. And
Yes.
that's why people are struggling because they will say, "Hey, write an essay on this." That essay will be written by AI in 5 seconds,
Yeah.
and students will just give it to you. Like they'll probably change something and give it to you. They're not learning anything. So
Hmm.
ask a better question as a teacher, right? Find a better way for them to learn where you're not just asking them to do something that the large language model can do. Or use large language model, make it free for them to use, but figure out ways to make them more innovative on doing that, right? So that they are not reproducing what the large language model is asking, but also inserting some of their own mindful things there, right? So again, I'm making that up as I'm speaking to you. We need to be more cautious about how we design future education system.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that information. And let's go to our fun question. Not that like that is also the fun thing, but just for yourself, like what's your favorite subject to teach, like and why? Like as I know, yeah, your favorite is AI, but initially, how do you decide like you choose like the AI subject like as your specialist
That's
specialized?
such a good question. I honestly did not have fun studying AI. When we were studying AI, the way it was taught was very rudimentary in the beginning. Then we had a professor who I think came from India, if I remember correctly. And there was a time where I think all the colleges are closed. I can't remember the events, but now, you know, our batch was asked to come to a rented house somewhere where the professor was staying, and we would just go there, and he was teaching us AI. And he made it so interesting. He was an old guy from some university in India, and he would he would talk about these concepts so clearly. There's no memorizing, there's no nothing, right? I mean, and I still remember he taught me Turing test, all of us Turing test, in the way where even today, like I never have to think about what Turing test is. I still can just go back to that lecture from 2001, probably, where I vividly remember how he was in a living room talking about Turing tests to 40 students, and it was so clear and interesting because Turing test is interesting, right? So I would say AI is still the thing that I would like to teach because it just sparked something on me when he was teaching that to me. And and that's what I tried to do when I went to the class and I was teaching. First, I was teaching introduction to computer science. Interesting, but it's still not at the intersection of many things. AI is at the intersection of philosophy, linguistics, psychology, computer science, so many things. So you can make it really interesting and relatable, right? Um, and I think so. Yeah, yeah. For me, it is AI because it is not one discipline. It is combination of many disciplines, and you can talk about all of them, right? Actually, like because I liked AI, when I was in Nepal, I went and did a course in psychology. When I was teaching at Kopo, I also joined Three Sundar campus, and I did graduate degree in psychology because I got so interested in psychology. And when I applied for AI here, I could say, yeah, I did computer science, I did psychology, and they took me. They gave me grant and everything to study AI here, right? So it's computer science, it's psychology, it's philosophy. I took philosophy courses. The way people talk about AI now is very different from what we did because we're talking about making systems that are human-like, and psychology and neuroscience and biology and everything is part of it, right? So I would say it's still AI.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that time it was AI, but not like here we having the AI, right? That time is it was in our course, like computer engineering course. There is a AI, multi like neural science, everything is was there. But now it is AI is using adapting like trying to get everything. Like now it's more like what I say. It was right using that AI right now tools like making the tools right. Um, Previously, we
yeah,
are
yeah,
learning the AI like in the college in the class. There was AI, but now it's like AI
yeah.
tool coming
I
up.
think I think people are really focusing on a part of AI now, right? So people are only
Mhm.
focusing on machine learning and natural language processing. Um, but when we were studying about AI, and even now, in academia, when we talk about AI, it's about everything. It's robotics is part of AI, right? I mean, not just Chat GPT, where it's just the computer interface and we're talking to it. Robotics is part of AI, and there are many other things in AI that we don't focus on right now. But it's interesting to focus on that. If you focus on philosophy of mind, if you focus on language, if somebody didn't focus on language, we wouldn't have Chat GPT today, right? And that's why linguistics is important. So I hope we can change the narrative of AI is not just large language models like Chat GPT, but there's so much to it. to, and we can gain so much if we do more than just, chat GPT style of AI.
Yes.
And I had, yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
100% agree with you.
Yeah, of course, like the layman, they know about like ChatGPT is the AI, but ChatGPT is just a part of the AI. There's a lot of more things on the AI, right? Yeah, that's correct. So, if you want to give a suggestion, like a book you think everyone should read, what it will be if you are a book reader, if you love reading the book.
I'm not an avid book reader.
Mm-hmm.
I've read very few big books in life, I would say. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
if I But if I think about books that kind of change my perspective in life, um, I would say I would recommend people to read um, Fountainhead, The Fountainhead from Ayn Rand. Again, I'm not into her like political beliefs. I completely 100% disagree with it. But that book, as I was growing up, just instilled something on me. It sparked something on me on just being an individual who works hard and you know every other thing, right? So I would recommend reading it, but I would say I don't agree with her underlying philosophy, political philosophy. Um, I like God of Small Things. If you're into Indian diaspora and good writing, it's a really good book to read. God of Small Things is a good book to read. And very light reading, I would say. I'm blanking on it right now. Yeah, but those two books are something that influenced me a lot.
Yeah, I think that is really very good books that you have suggested. So I'm just trying to read one page a day, like a habit, like reading the habit, because I am not a book reader. From the after I passed my bachelor's, I didn't join and like I did not do anything. So I'm just trying to make it like a habit, like do one page reading. So I'm just trying to get some advice from you as well, so that I can have some like interest on reading the book and
Yeah,
everything. So
yeah.
yeah. So what's for that? Mm. So, if you could go back to being a student, what subject would you love to study? In except AI.
Film studies. I'm a very creative person. Music, film studies, something like that,
Oh,
where
that's
I
nice.
can really show my creativity.
Mhm.
Like I would probably do that. And I always feel like that. I always feel like if I was born here or grew up here, I would go for something like that.
Mhm.
I'm not complaining about who I became studying technical fields, but everybody has a personality. Everybody has things that they're passionate about, and for me, it has always been music and creative fields, which I took as a second career path for me. And I would probably make it primary if I was allowed to.
That's really great. So, what is your favorite movie recently? You have any? You asked,
The recent movie,
or yeah,
um,
not a recent movie, but your favorite movie as you, watching the movie. I think you watch movie, right?
yeah,
You did watch.
I watch a lot of movies. Hollywood, I would say anything to do with Tom Hanks, I love a lot. Forrest Gump is my all-time favorite movie. I like Shawshank Redemption a lot. Those are classics. Newer, I love the whole Ocean series, Ocean 11 and others. Those are even not newer. Newest, I should say. Newest, I mean, I'm also on, I like comic books related movies. So any Marvel movies, I just go and watch them. So Avengers, I like them.
Mhm.
So that's Hollywood.
Yeah.
Bollywood, I really like American movies. Anything he makes. Not everything though. He has made some really bad movies.
What about the current, like recent movies? There
I
is a
haven't seen
one
it.
movie.
I haven't seen it. Sita is Zameen Par. I want to, but I haven't seen it. Tare Zameen Par was something that has like made a really great impact on me. And any movies, like I think like
Three Idiots. Did you watch Three Idiots?
Three Idiots, I watched here, loved it. Um, then what was the? So it was an American movie. The last movie that I watched in Nepali theater before I left here was Rang De Basanti. So
Oh yeah.
anything that has to do with American, I love it. There are other method actors as well, like that I like. That I like them.
What
Nepali,
about Nepali?
yeah, Nepali. I like anything that's non-mainstream. Uh, that I can find on YouTube. We have watched them. Um, I what I can say is like in Nepali movie there have been a lot of good, like lot of good advancement. Like so, like I watched Khagbeni, I watched some other movies where things have changed drastically from what we used to have back in the. But even back in the days, they were good. Like I remember watching Chino on screen when I was, I don't know, like 7 years old, and it was so good watching them, right? So, but the mid area somehow was disappointing. You know, like when we was watching Kusume Rumal, Chino, like Kusume Rumal is older, right? And then Chino and other movies, like they were really good. I love those movies.
Yes.
And then
So recently you don't watch any Nepali movie, I think so. You
the
didn't watch any
recent one.
Nepali recent any like newer movies that you have heard about, or you see any trailer, anything about
No, I
Nepal?
mean I can't remember them right now, but yes, I mean
Yes,
people would share.
you do follow the Nepali movies as well, right?
Yeah. I mean on my Facebook because I was in like media somehow and not full fledged, but I have people like Subrata Charadai who produced my who directed my music video is a like he's a movie director now. So like through that connection and some other connections, people are always sharing about like recent movies and music on my Facebook and YouTube and other places. So I'm very up to date on what's happening. Uh, and then anything available, I want to like. I like to watch new music videos or new movies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but not obviously
Hmm.
not as much.
Yeah.
S- Recently, like let's say like past 3 years, not because of newborn at that time with
Mhm.
a kid and full-time work and music, it's difficult to stay up to date on media, I would say.
Yeah, understand. Yeah, understand.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
with that. Yeah. So one thing on your bucket list, anything you want to share?
One thing on my bucket list.
Huh?
Yeah, yeah. I think I've done, I've, you and this goes back to my professional life. I've learned so much in AI. I've worked in very good companies. I've taught in good colleges, and now I feel like I'm at a stage where I can give back and I can produce something that's useful to everybody. One thing in my bucket list is hopefully like starting something of my own soon, like a product or a company or something that I can, you know, um, really be impactful on, specifically on ethical AI, on implementing AI risk free. Like really like because everybody is using AI now, and how do we help small businesses and even bigger companies implement AI, but also be secure that they are doing it in a right way, not harming people, right? So I really want to. That's in my bucket list.
Yeah, I think that is great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Anything, I think this is really good conversation we are having. But one last fun question, like, do you like any tea or coffee? If you prefer, which one is your favorite one?
Tea.
Tea. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I used to drink coffee a lot, but past 5 or 6 years I've been drinking tea, and I love tea, especially
Okay.
the our Nepali style tea. That's like every day,
Mm-hmm.
every morning. Me and my wife, regardless
Mm-hmm.
of where we are, what we are doing, we try to make that tea and like have the Nepali tea in the morning every
Yeah.
day. Like
It
that's
was really very good. Like tea time, right? Yeah, it's good to have
yeah.
morning tea. It's good. Yeah. So it was really very fun talking with you. So last like closing question I have. Is there anything you want to share or give advice for the new people who want to pursue uh, a career in IT, like in the artificial intelligence or anything, not artificial intelligence only, not the AI only, but anything in the IT related thing? You want to give anything, suggestion or advice to the
Yeah,
audience?
yeah, absolutely. I would say it's very easy to skill up on coding, AI, anything right now, right? I mean, you can. It's getting easier and easier to do that compared to where we were, where we had to grab a book and start like coding and failing hundreds of times before you even write one successful code. So what I would say is, sharpen your fundamentals, right? Because it's really easy to let go of it now. Um, Sharpen your fundamentals on math, sharpen your fundamentals on statistics, sharpen your fundamentals on probability theories, your physics. They matter. I remember, having conversation to people on, I studied all this like trigonometry and all these things, but I never use it. If you do AI, you will use a lot of them. If you actually like starting doing AI and you go into natural language processing, you will realize, oh, the Fourier transform that I learned is actually useful. I have to use it. Or the Laplace algorithm that I learned in math. Oh wow, I actually use it, right? So AI is that field where you feel like you will be glad that you actually focused on your fundamentals when you're doing statistics, your probability theories, your math, your science, especially physics, where you learn a lot of these things where they start to show up in your larger algorithms and bigger AI aspects where you use all of them. You feel like, maybe with the newer technological advances, you might feel like you don't need it, but I'm just telling you, you will need it. Please sharpen your fundamentals.
I think that is the main thing we need to focus on, right? Any good career, the fundamental is if have the best fundamental, good fundamental, then we can achieve anything. Like we can learn other things, right? If we know the fundamental, it will be easier for us to know learn more other things as well.
Yeah, and you'll also know why things are not working. And I'll give you a real example, right? So I love set theory always. Class 11, I learned it, and in engineering, you have to study. In a first job, we were writing, code for large amount of language and a lot of for loops, and we're trying to do things with using the list. And as a computer engineer, you understand that, right? And it was taking a lot of time. And then suddenly I was like, okay, how about just using set and set intersection to find common elements? And then I did that, and it went from like, it became 20 times faster, right? So like just being able to think as a mathematician, as an engineer is so different than just trying things without any knowledge, right? So sharpening your fundamentals will come handy even in work life. People think that it's just for school, but even in your work life, it will come handy.
Yeah, I think we what I am doing like as a like computer engineering, we have a lot of subjects, we have to read a lot of things, but after passing that, I think we are not using that, but in our work life, like at daily life, we are using some of them as well, like unknowingly, yeah, we are using that, right? Yeah, and it makes us like easy to do the stuffs like in our work stuff. So I think that is really very good thing that you have shared. So if anyone wants to reach out to you, what is the best way to connect with you? Anything you want to share with them, to our audience?
I'm not active on many social medias. I want to be because we're now working on songs. So I want to be active on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. I don't have accounts on Instagram and TikToks. I will open. I will start new ones. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So, that's the easiest way to reach me. If you text me on LinkedIn, I will get back to you. Uh, but I'll also start some other accounts now, like Instagram and TikToks, because of the songs that I've made.
Yeah, I will share your LinkedIn account on my description so that they can get in touch with you. If you have any question or anything, you can directly connect with you. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today. If you feel helpful listening to this podcast, please share with your friends and the families. Don't forget to like, comment, and share my YouTube channel. So my YouTube channel name is Nepali Tech Mom. So thank you so much, Cesar sir, for coming today and sharing your experience, everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. Really appreciate that.